This is Andy Purwell for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm joined by the Ring Magazine World Champion, WBA Super World Super Middleweight Champion, Callum Smith here in Withenshaw. Callum, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Not bad. What yourself?
I'm all good, thanks, mate. Obviously, good to hear you doing well. And as I mentioned, we're here in Withenshaw. But how's Christmas been for you, first and foremost? Obviously, New Year now. What have you been up to?
Yeah, it was good. I just chilled out. Obviously, I boxed the end of November, so it was a bit of time off for me. Enjoyed a bit of family time. I went away for New Year to Dubai, which was good to get a bit of sun. And then I'm back the New Year and ready to get back in the gym and push on for hopefully a big year.
Let's go back to the John Ryder fight first and foremost. Obviously, in November. At the time, there was a lot of people over social media and that suggesting maybe the scorecards are a little bit more favourable to you than what others had scored it. Since then, what's been your thoughts? You've had time to reflect.
Yeah, obviously I watched the next day because obviously I can't really give my opinion when I haven't really watched it back. So the first thing I done the next day was to watch it just to see what I thought. And it was kind of similar to what I thought on the night. I thought I won a lot of the early rounds. I thought John Ryder didn't really do much early on, and I didn't do much, but I felt I was winning a lot of the rounds. It was quite comfortable, and then we made a push the second half of the fight, and probably outworked me in a few of the rounds, but there was never once in the fight I felt I was winning. There was never once I thought, I need this round to win the fight, even going into the 12th round. And that was the first to hold my hands up, and it wasn't the best performance from myself, but I won the fight, and I believe my bad performance beat John Ryder's very good performance.
Did John surprise you, or did he perform better than what you anticipated?
No, because I said in the build-up, it was his big chance, it was his world title opportunity, and I always knew we were going to see the very best John Ryder. That's what we're in this sport for, to become world champion. If you can't raise your game for a world title fight, then you're probably in the wrong sport. So I was expecting that. He was a little bit more awkward than what I expected. I think, I always enjoy the size advantage, but I think he was a little bit too small than what I imagined, and he was a bit harder to hit clean. But like I said, I think if I had performed the way I can, I would have dealt with his openness a little bit better. But it's done, it's happened, and we move on.
On the back of that fight, some people were calling to see whether it'd be a rematch or not. Is it something that you completely have no interest in, or something that you would consider if it was an offer that was good enough? What would be your thoughts?
Listen, I consider it if there was nothing else. There's no other big fight. I've always said I'm in fights in the sport for the fights that excite me and motivate me, and what I can gain stuff from unification fights or the super fights against the big names. If I can't get any of them, then a rematch does make sense. I'm not completely saying no to it. It's just I'd rather a fight that I gain something from, i.e. Billy Joe Saunders, Callum, David Benavidez, or Canelo Alvarez. They're the fights that I want. If I can't get them, then we'll look elsewhere. But it's a new year, a new start, and hopefully we can get a big fight in the spring.
Let's move on to what's next. Obviously, I've spoken to Joe a couple of times over these past week and a half, and he mentioned the conversation here yourself and Eddie Reynoso had out in America at the back end of last year. What was you guys talking about? What was your understanding of where you stand with Eddie? As far as Joe's concerned, you had very productive talks, and Eddie Reynoso turned around and said it's you they want to face next and not Billy Joe Saunders, despite the recent rumours.
It wasn't me. I didn't really have any. I said hello to him. He shook his hand, and I said nice to meet him. And then I went off, and Joe and him had a little chat, and they seemed to. Everyone seems to put it down to me or Billy Joe Saunders, who's the next opponent. That's what the word on social media is, and apparently the word coming from Canelo's camp is. And then the last couple of weeks, it seemed to be leaning more towards Saunders. And I've always said it's the fight I'd love, a fight I'd jump at. I think anyone in or around my weight division would. But I've always said it's the fight that I'm not going to sit around and wait for and waste my career waiting for a fight that might never ever happen. So listen, if the phone rings, it's the fight I'd jump at, but I'm not sitting waiting and putting all my eggs in that basket. I know if anything, I'd be more surprised if I do get it than if I don't, and that's always been my mentality. And if I get it, so be it. If I don't, there's a lot of other big fights out there for me in 2020, and fingers crossed one of them can be made, and I believe they can.
After Joe had his conversation with Eddie Reynoso, he came back to you, had spoken to you about it, was you kind of thinking maybe it will be me next? Was you a bit more assured of the fact it may well have been you instead of Billy Joe? Yeah,
I don't know. Obviously, when even just to see your name mentioned, and you do think, what if the phone does go, and what if that fight happens? And it's the biggest fight possible for me or any other super middleweight or middleweight or light heavyweight. It's a huge fight, but deep down, I've never believed I'll get it. I've always believed, I'm not saying he's wary of me, but I just think stylistically are not the best fight for him, and why would he just pick me when he can pick anyone in the world to fight and he still gets paid massive money for it? And I've always just felt I'd get the fight if the demand was massive for it, if I was to go and get another belt as super middle or something like that, whereas at the minute I don't think that makes sense at the minute. But no, we'll wait and see. I'm not completely out the picture, but realistically, if you say my next fight's Canelo Alvarez, I don't believe it will be.
If Billy Joe was to get that fight, how frustrated would you be? You're both under the same promotional banner. You've obviously been with Matchroom a lot longer. Ring Magazine #1 and WA Super Middleweight champion. As super middleweight, as I mentioned, how frustrating would it be for you if Billy Joe was to get ahead of yourself?
I wouldn't say frustration. The only frustration would be that if I don't get Canelo, the next option was probably Billy Joe Saunders, and that takes away 2 fights for me. So that's the only frustration. Listen, I don't compete against anyone else. I always just want what's best for myself, and if I can't get the Canelo fight, then hopefully Billy Joe does get it. He's a fellow Brit. I hope he does well, and I wish him all the best. And we're all in this fight to train as much as we can and get the biggest fights possible. And I wouldn't wish someone not to get the fight just because I didn't. I hope Billy Joe does get it if it isn't me. And like I said, I wish him all the best, and I think he's got a good chance of causing Canelo problems.
Where would it leave you contractually? I know you signed on a fight-by-fight basis with Matchroom. You was given the understanding that you would have a big fight next, no matter what, if you were successful against John Ryder. If Canelo and Saunders fought, for example, that's 2 names out of the picture, as you mentioned. Benavidez' plant being signed with Al Heyman and Premier Boxing Champions kind of leaves you in the lurch as to what's next. Contractually, is there a chance that you may well go to another promoter to face another world champion or something?
I don't want to start all talks to Callum Smith's jumping ship and all that. I've always just said I'd go where the best place for me is at the minute. That was with Matchroom, and it's down to them to deliver the big fights. I'll probably have a sit down with the team at the start of the year and plan out what's next. And hopefully, like I say, I believe they're the best promoter in the world at the minute, and hopefully they can deliver a big fight for me. Whoever that is, I'm not too sure, but I want the big fights. I want the big names. I think my last performance showed, and I do need that motivation, and hopefully I will have that next time out.
Do you think we could see you step up to light heavyweight if the opportunity as super middleweight didn't present itself?
Possibly, yeah. Like I say, where the opportunities are, if there's no opportunities left at super middle, I believe I'm good enough and big enough to compete at 175, but at the minute I prefer to stay at super middle. I think there's a lot of stuff for me still to achieve here. There's 3 other belts that I would like to get my hands on, at least one of them. So ideally not, but if there's no options, then no, it will be a move I will consider.
Well, Callum Smith, I appreciate your time now. I'll let you crack on and enjoy the rest of your time today and at the show. So it's always been a pleasure. Best of luck for the coming year. I'll catch up with you soon. Thanks for speaking to myself, Boxing Social.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.